Certifications are important, but they don't guarantee real-time decision-making ability, and that's the most critical piece that we see as missing.
Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Cyber Ranges Uncovered. Today, we're diving into two of the most urgent topics in the cyber training space: applied cyber education and workforce development. Joining me is Lynn Fisher, President and CEO of Applied Technology Academy, a nationally recognized training provider known for its certified instructors, veteran-led mission, and commitment to closing the gap between theory and mission-ready capability.
I'm Lynn Fisher. I'm the President and CEO of Applied Technology Academy. I lead our mission to deliver high-impact IT and cybersecurity training for commercial enterprises, public entities, and federal agencies, and ultimately the DoD nationwide. And at ATA, we're focused on equipping the cyber workforce with real-world training and certifications, immersive labs, and cyber range capabilities.
Let's jump right in with our first question. Could you tell us what inspired your passion for reshaping how we train and grow cybersecurity talent?
In looking at the overall market and cybersecurity talent and workforce development, there were huge gaps. I've been in the training industry since almost 30 years ago. I started with CompUSA, but more recently we've seen a critical gap between theory and theoretical knowledge and really operational capability. And oftentimes certifications were the answer for that, but now we know that there's a practical component, hands-on keyboard as we often call it, that's missing. That time spent honing skills and applying those skills, not just the theoretical knowledge or even some of just the baseline technical knowledge, but the application of that knowledge. And we wanted to build training programs that would create cyber professionals and close that gap. The professionals not just certified, but really truly mission ready.
I'm glad you brought up certification because, I would say that ATA has earned a strong reputation for quality, agility, and mission alignment. For those who might not be familiar, how would you describe ATA's role in the broader cyber training and certification ecosystem?
So ATA really operates at the cross-section, or really the intersection of certification, mission alignment, and workforce development. Certification is a piece of that. I always say that certifications no longer stand alone where they might have in the past. We're a trusted provider that brings in that hands-on, instructor-led, and now AI-enabled training, mapping to the NICE frameworks and the DoD DCWF frameworks. Those are critical KSAs and JQRs that we're tracking and training to, and oftentimes trying to bridge that gap between just credentials and ultimately credentials and competency. And that's where we can ensure learners are ready for real world roles on day one, and not just coming out with just a baseline certification.
What would you say are some of the biggest challenges you're seeing when it comes to preparing a cyber workforce that's truly ready to respond?
When it comes to being truly ready to respond, the biggest challenge above all else is relevance. Many of the cybersecurity training programs out there are really heavy on theory. I had referenced that a little bit earlier, but light on practice. And there's also a lack of personalization. Every adult learner, every child learner for that matter, all learners learn differently. We're also seeing a need to really scale quality training without losing fidelity, especially across distributed teams. Cyber is a team sport. It's not a solo sport, and that's causing some challenges in the traditional training models.
We often hear about the disconnect between traditional certification-based training and real-world operational readiness, especially in government and defense. From ATA's experience, where do you see the gap showing up most clearly, and how are you addressing it?
We see training gaps showing up most clearly in the defense space specifically is really in transitions. Someone moving from training into an operational role, or from a tier 1 to a tier 3 responsibility level. Certifications are important, but they don't guarantee real-time decision-making ability, and that's the most critical piece that we see as missing. We're addressing this at ATA by layering cyber ranges and live fire scenarios into our training programs. That way we can ensure that learners can apply knowledge under pressure and use their critical thinking skills and that real-time decision-making that they want to hone over time, and that's what makes them better cyber defenders and offenders.
So you mentioned leveraging cyber range platforms to play a role in helping learners kind of go from what I guess we can call knowing to doing.
Right.
Could you dive into that a little bit, and where is that difference between having the theoretical knowledge and actually being able to do that hands-on cyber training for the real world readiness?
Well, we really see at ATA Cyber Ranges is really the bridge to this reality, right? Static labs are not going to hone and create those skills. You can sit and do static labs and complete that repetition over and over and over, but you're never seeing anything different within that static lab. None of that real-time decision making comes into play. None of that critical thinking is coming into play. You're just doing repetitions per se of the same static content and same static approach. Cyber ranges, that's an entirely different approach. They can simulate, for example, cyber ranges specifically could simulate the unpredictability and the complexity of real world environments. That's something that courseware and static labs can never replicate. We're helping learners internalize skills and not just memorize content. And that's the most critical differentiator when it comes to cyber ranges, bridging that gap.
How do you see a platform specifically like Cyber Ranges fitting into or potentially even enhancing a training provider's learning ecosystem?
Well, we see Cyber Ranges as an actual platform elevating everything that we do as a training provider. Cyber Ranges provides a scalable, high fidelity environment where we can actually simulate threat landscapes specific to each client, creating digital twins, etc. Whether it's a federal SOC team or a commercial red team, we can meet them where they're at from a threat landscape perspective. It also integrates seamlessly into our curriculum and supports self-paced and instructor-led models. One of the big key differentiators for us as we went to partner with Cyber Ranges is they had turnkey instructor-led tools built into the system instead of us trying to present and leverage their system and then layer on an instructor. It was already purpose-built to integrate instructors and our practitioners into that training delivery.
The federal and defense sectors need cyber professionals who are truly ready on day one. What would you say agencies and DoD partners are asking for today in terms of cyber training, and how is ATA responding or adapting to that need?
So we see federal agencies and DoD partners asking very specifically for one thing, and that one thing is outcomes. It's validated skills mapped to very specific DCWF work roles and JQRs, and to have mission-aligned readiness. They want training that directly supports cyber operations, not just check-the-box compliance like we saw with DoD 8570. That check-the-box compliance came through primarily certifications. Again, not that certifications have no value, but they want direct mapping to the work roles that they've identified within their organizations. And we've adapted by aligning each of our courses to DoD 8140 through our various vendor partners, and are doing the same with Cyber Ranges, integrating hands-on ranging to demonstrate operational capability. So Cyber Ranges also lets us assess learners and lets the DoD and federal entities assess learners in ways that written tests can't. Even some of the performance-based exams, they're highly valuable, but we can get ongoing performance metrics, team coordination, and scenario adaptabilities in a year-round format with Cyber Ranges as our partner. It's not a 5-week or a 5-day or a defined window of time that then stops that measurement. That measurement is ongoing throughout the course of a year.
So one of the hardest challenges in education is scaling without sacrificing quality, especially in hands-on fields like cybersecurity. How does ATA ensure that growth doesn't come at the expense of experience?
And well, as far as ATA is concerned, we scale through rigor and standardization, not shortcuts. All of our instructors are practitioners. They're certified and field experienced. One of the challenges that training organizations such as ourselves have is that people become teachers or instructors, and then they live in PowerPoints and they live in course content that can be somewhat static while changing over time, not at the relevance and speed of the industry and the technology. Every delivery is QA'd against federal frameworks. We have internal metrics and NPR scores that we leverage to measure our outcomes as well as our instructor capabilities. And then we're leveraging technology like Cyber Ranges to deliver consistent, really high quality experiences across time zones and training modalities.
We live in a world that is very remote. I mean, whether it's military, federal, government, being mission ready today is much simpler than it was 20 years ago, even from a cost perspective. How would you say that remote access, being able to access also securely, has changed the industry today when it comes to cyber readiness?
Well, from a cyber readiness perspective, I do think that COVID, the positive outcome of that window of time was readiness in remote learning. It forced us into that medium where that was much less acceptable per se or adopted globally in the past. But the great thing about cyber ranges is that we can do that remote delivery, but we can deliver highly realistic training across very secure environments. The key in that is highly realistic training, not just static, PowerPoint delivery with some static labs, which used to be the approach to technical training, frankly. We can go CONUS, OCONUS with cyber ranges. We can go on premise with their cyber range in a box. We have a lot of different modalities that we can teach and train across the globe, and that also ensures that our learners get the same immersive, relevant training regardless of their location, no matter where they are.
What do you think is one of the most overlooked opportunities when it comes to upskilling the next generation of cyber professionals?
I have one most overlooked opportunity in upskilling cyber professionals, and it's cross-functional fluency, bar none. So many learners get siloed and they're on a very narrow path. Well, I'm going to do certified, I'm going to be an ethical hacker. So I'm just going to take that red team ethical hacking, pipeline of course curriculum and cyber range activities. That in order to be a great offensive cyber professional, you need to understand the defensive cyber professional's position, tools, tactics, and what they're doing from a defense standpoint in order to be a better offender. And the same applies in reverse. I just see that the real world demands, analysts and practitioners who understand offense and defense, who can script, and leaders who can communicate risk. So it's really a holistic applied learning is the key, so that the outcome is ultimately cross-functional team members, whether they be red team, blue team, purple team, whatever it might be within that cyberspace.
What role does that play in building true confidence and competence to each individual in their role?
Well, the analogy is sports, right? You build your strength and your skill and your acumen by doing, right? By practice, right? It's ultimately practice. And applied learning does the same thing. It builds muscle memory, it builds critical thinking, and it builds resilience. And you build it by doing it. And that's how we're hoping to close that readiness gap.
How would you say we can close the diversity and gender gap in the field? Where can we start?
It's been proven, and I've seen a couple of statistics along the way, that if we don't capture young women by the age of 12, when it comes to anything STEM, whether they go down the cyber pathway, IT networking, or otherwise, anything within that STEM arena, if we haven't captured their attention and engaged them by age 12, the majority of those young women will not move on to a STEM-related career. At the end of the day, I'm a merit-based hiring professional. I believe hire the best person for the job, but I do feel that women are underserved in the cyber community. And I think it's because we're not approaching them early enough in that pipeline. The same applies to males as well. And I think we typically in K through 12 always go in with Python, right? We're going in with programming. Programming is a very narrow focus within cybersecurity. And I think sometimes we probably do a disservice to our children and our future cyber professionals by focusing in on programming and not taking a broader, big look approach. Maybe that's where a good cyber theory course would be appropriate for them, so they see the cyber landscape and then can hone down into other areas of specialization.
What would you say is the future of cybersecurity education, and what does that look like to you, particularly in defense and government spaces?
Well, it's a few things, and some of which we've talked about, but just to summarize succinctly, it's going to be personalized training, it's going to be performance-based, and it will be AI enhanced. I think that education in entirety, not just cyber, is shifting from passive content delivery to really dynamic, adaptive training ecosystems, and that's critical for cyber professionals. They're continuously assessed and upskilled and need to do so in line with mission needs within defense and government. And I just see that passive content has really gone out the window, honestly. And these adaptive training ecosystems are going to be critical, and multiple modalities within those training ecosystems are going to be critical.
Is there any specific kind of trend that you think is coming in the future that you'd like to pick at?
Yeah, I think that you're going to see, and some of this will be outcomes of our partnership with Cyber Ranges, you're going to see AI-enabled threat emulation. They already have their injector engine, but another tier and layer of AI capabilities to create those live fire threats. You're going to see us co-developing mission-specific range scenarios, electronic warfare, EW. That's a huge area for training competencies within a multimodality training platform, and we're working directly with cyber ranges to build those out as we speak. You're going to see advanced analytics probably at a level that we don't see today in training pipelines, and very unique and not just team specific, but individual specific. And then just being able to scale that. Cyber Ranges is a purpose-built cyber range to spin up, without VMware, 1,000 machines at a time, without having a infrastructure issue, is very unusual. It's a purpose-built, properly built cyber range. We're really excited about scaling with them across federal, commercial, and our Guard and Reserve forces. So I know together that we, ATA, with cyber ranges can create a new standard for cyber workforce readiness.
On behalf of Cyber Ranges, I can say that we are equally excited for all of that to come. That wraps up this episode of Cyber Ranges Uncovered. A big thank you to Lynn Fisher for joining us and sharing her perspective on all things cyber training. Don't forget to follow Cyber Ranges for more expert conversations. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.